Guys, Jake here, and today I'm here to show you the deck I used to get second at a League Cup, losing to Jimmy McClure, and and a very close version to the deck I'll be playing this weekend in Georgia. When this video goes up, I'll already be playing the deck in Georgia, and I'll talk about some of the changes I'm looking at for the deck. But of course, I'm still testing them, and I haven't quite decided, so I'll just show you this list for now. Start off, got 4 Raikou. Raikou is a great Pokemon. Surprisingly bulky with the Shining Body. Can do a lot of damage with the Thunder Lance. Non-EX. The only issue is a 3 energy attack, but this deck really helps you get that consistently. Then we have 2 Jolteon EX. Sometimes Jolteon just wins you the game. And it also helps you buy turns against certain decks that are really fast, like Volcanion or Turbo Dark. And yeah, it just really helps either buying a turn. If they don't have Ranger, you can just win the game off of Jolteon. And yeah, you can just get it going turn 2, have it lone Jolteon. It's not too hard to get. In the deck, there are 4 starters you can get that help you get lone Jolteon. And there were games this weekend that I won just off of just lone Jolteon. It was great. So next we got 2 Voltorb. These are not the right Voltorbs. I will be using the Roaring Skies Voltorb in Georgia, but I didn't have them, so I went with these ones, which look awesome, by the way. I love the art on these ones. But Roaring Skies Voltorb, I'll talk about that since I'm definitely using that. It knows its first attack is basically the same thing as Froakie's Bubble, which, as we all know, can be really clutch in buying a turn. Which sometimes this deck does just need like one turn. And being able to buy that for, like, even if it's a 50-50, it's great. Second attack does 60 damage, and it does 60 to itself. With a Fury Belt, it will do 70 damage and not die for 2 energy. And having a 2 energy attack in this deck is kind of like unheard of. Because most of the time, like, you have Jolteon, Raikou, like most of the time, there aren't really any electric attackers that are good that have less than 3 energy attack. But at least you have Voltorb for 2 energy. But it does knock out Shamans. And with a Fury Belt, it doesn't knock itself out. We got 2 Electrode. Electrode is awesome. Even though you give your opponent a prize, this just supplements Max Elixir so well. And it really allows you to either keep attacking against EX decks that are knocking you out quickly, like not to lose any steam. It can help you get going early if you miss Max Elixirs. It can one cute thing it can do is if you're against Greninja, you can use it to knock out the Talonflame on turn 2 just by manually attaching to the active Raikou, and they won't be able to Ace Trainer you because you'll still be even on prizes, which is kind of cute. Next, I got a Jirachi. Helps buy time against certain decks and give you that extra turn. This deck can be kind of controlling at times between Jolteon and Jirachi. So just being able to Lysander up like a benched Mewtwo or Yveltal or anything with special energy on it, and Stardust can help you buy turns to win. Because sometimes the deck just does need that one turn, like I said earlier. It also, so this deck really does well against a lot of the tier 1 decks. But one thing that these kind of random decks do is that they have a hard time against other like random decks or tier 3 decks or tier 2 decks or. So what Jirachi also helps you do is it helps you win those matchups where you're playing something random, and you just and a lot of the random decks do run special energy, and there's also things like Vespiquen. So it's just really nice to have, and I think it's worth a spot in the deck. Finally, I have 2 Shaman. Shaman's really great, and there's not too much to say about it by now. It's been in the format for a while, and this card is amazing. So, that is the Pokemon. Let's get into the supporters. Supporters are pretty straightforward. I got 4 Sycamore, 3 N. I'm really trying to go for consistency here. The deck just needs to set up every single game. The League Cup was best of 1 before Top Cut, so it was really important for that. And then for the final, instead of a 4th N, the final slot I included an Ace Trainer. Ace Trainer worked out okay. It is a card I'm looking at changing either back to N or into something else. While it's a really cool card, I might use it over a longer set of games, like a full regionals. It just didn't do enough in my opinion. Because your opponent essentially still has a 4-card hand, and without the aid of other disruption like Silent Lab, it it's just okay. But it is really nice to have being able to use Ace Trainer instead of N if you're like on 5 prizes or 4 prizes or anything like that, and your opponent's on 3. It's essentially a better N, so it was nice to have. Then I got 2 Lysander. Lysander's great, being able to Lysander something and knock something out. Or if they're setting up like a benched Mega first with something like Hoopa Float in the active, you can put the early pressure on because being the first one to deal damage is really great with this Pokemon because of 2-shot wars. And yeah, there's just one Lysander is not enough in this deck. Then we got Hexmaniac. Hexmaniac is decently useful. It is a card I'm looking at maybe changing. It does help against things like Volcanion and Greninja that rely on abilities. But Greninja's like, it's not a very nice matchup. And Volcanion is pretty winnable. I did lose to Volcanion in the finals. But the game one basically, I never saw a Pokemon besides Shaman, and I kind of just lost. Game 2, I won off Lone Jolteon, and Game 3 was really close. And if I needed a Versus Seeker the turn before I got it, and if I did, I would have been in position to win. So it was a really close set. And Hexmaniac was key in Game 3, forcing them to only deal 130, which does knock out Raikou, but not if it has a Fury Belt. And being able to attack twice with one Raikou is really important. Next, I got Box Grit. My friend Russell wrote an article about this deck, and basically Brock's Grit is really good in this deck because, one, it's reliable. Even if you discard it, you can always access it later with Versus Seeker. Yes, it does cost your supporter for the turn, which, I mean, if you're behind and you need to use it, a lot of times it's really bad, but hopefully you can combine it with something like the Bubble or the Stardust to buy yourself a turn to do that. But it's really nice that it's reliable, and shuffling 6 in is actually amazing because a lot of times you want to shuffle a bunch of energy back in to help with your late game max elixirs, and you also want to shuffle in Pokemon, and this allows you to do both. And yeah, it's a great card. Finally, one Delinquent. Delinquent was great this weekend. Delinquent's great in this deck. I run 2 Parallel City, and instead of getting, I don't mind if I could put the 3, but having Delinquent can just really be great. Only having 2 stadiums, but essentially, like in theory, I kind of have 7 because I can use Delinquent 5 times to control my opponent's stadium. So even though that's kind of unreasonable to use it that many times, essentially I can keep their stadium off the field. And there was a couple games I could bring them to a 1 or 0 card hand, and even if their last card is a Sycamore, they wanted to play those other 3 cards, and forcing them to discard them is really cool. But yeah, that's the last of the supporters. And for the items, it's we got our consistency, our 4 Versus Seeker. I'm only running 3 Trainer's Mail. there are decks like Mega Evolution decks and decks that utilize or candy. That I really like the inclusion of the fourth Trainer's Mail in. Um, but but for this kind of deck, I don't think it's really necessary, and I might actually be going down to two Trainer's Mail. Um, Kind of like Aqua Box did before Worlds. But Trainer's Mail is great. Smoothing out your opening and finding your max elixirs or finding your ultra balls or anything that you need. Next, we got 4 ultra ball and 1 level ball. Um, a while back, Graft and Roll on the Chaos Gym, or part of the Chaos Gym, made a video with Mega Scizor that included, and with Garbodor that included 1 level ball to help find out your Trebushes. And Trebush, I believe, was the only Pokemon you could find with level ball. But you either could find them a lot easier without using an Ultra Ball, or you could, just search it out late game to thin out your deck and discard it with something like Sycamore or Ultra Ball. And so I decided to try it in this deck. Um, and it worked out. This was honestly one of the best cards in the deck this last weekend at the League Challenge and League Cup that I went to. Um, so yeah, I'm actually looking at going up to 2 maybe. I can find both lines of the Electrode line. So I can find the Electrode and the Voltorb, and then I can also find the Jirachi if you need it. And being able to search these cards out without using an Ultra Ball, it's amazing. So, yeah, this card was great. I loved it. Um, and then, so let me move these a little bit. Then we got 4 Max Elixir. Max Elixir is the main way you want to accelerate energy in this deck. If it doesn't work out, you do have that backup of Electrode. And this is how you power up that 3 energy attack. I'm running 3 Fury Belts. I think 3 is the minimum. You could go up to 4. That's one thing I'm considering. Because just a Raikou with a Fury Belt is just so... it puts so much pressure. And I'm running 1 XP share. With the League Challenge I went to, I ran 2, and then I cut 1 for the 3rd Fury Belt, and I'm really glad for that. Putting an XP share on Jirachi in matchups where you need it is hilarious, because it gets the energy when your Pokemon gets knocked out. You can go up and Stardust, they're going to pass or do something, and then you can always retreat, and it's essentially giving Jirachi like a free attack and free retreat, and I think it's just hilarious. But basically, like, you could put this on your 4th Raikou, and just as the game goes on, it'll power up energy. While it won't be as tanky as the one with the Fury Belt, you're essentially getting a Raikou for free. 1 Escape Rope. We got a Glare. Let me see if I can fix that. There we go. So 1 Escape Rope. Escape Rope is great. It can help against opposing Jolteon. I went against a Mega Ray with Jolteon, and I Escape Rope Lysandered. I think 2 times in top 8. And yeah, it's just a great card as a 1-of inclusion. There's a lot of other uses, like if you start something like Shaman and you just want to retreat it, or if they have something active that you want to send to the bench. I was going against a Volcanion, and it was down to the wire. He had 1 Volcanion left and 2 Shaman on the bench, and he was going to knock me out the next turn for the game. But I was able to just play Escape Rope, force a Shaman up, and knock it out. Because I used Sycamore to dig through the deck, so I couldn't use Lysander. So there's a lot of uses for the Escape Rope, and it could be a 2-of inclusion. I believe the list I got top 8 at 2, if I remember correctly. But 1 is also great. Then I've got 2 Parallel City. Parallel City is an amazing card. It's very popular, which is why I also include Delinquent. But just being able to either slow down your opponent by forcing him to 3, lowering certain decks' damage outputs, getting rid of your own Shamans. As a non-EX deck, being able to get rid of your Shamans is a great thing to have, especially because your Pokemon are so... most of the time they get 2-shot. finally, I'm running 11 lightning energy. You could go up to 12. That's another thing I'm looking at. But I didn't miss too many elixirs. There was a couple games I missed 2 or 3, and I was kind of rolling my eyes. But I had the Electrode to back me up, and I did hit my elixirs most of the time. And there was a couple games, you draw like 4 energy, and you're kind of wishing that um, maybe you ran 10 energy. But I think 11 is a really good number. I could see going up to 12 though. So that's the Raikou deck. It's really fun. Um, and I will be playing it at Georgia. Like I said, once this video goes up, I will be currently playing it in Georgia. We'll see how I do. Um, it has really good matchups against a lot of the top decks, and it just almost takes a free win against Eviltal. I say almost because they can build a big Eviltal early and knock things down quickly. If you set up one Raikou and KO something, and they bring up a big Eviltal and kill that Raikou, and you don't have another answer, maybe you don't have a Voltorb down or anything like that, then you can get swept pretty easily. But outside of that scenario, you pretty much win the game. So it's great having a free or a free matchup against a really popular deck and a deck that a lot of people rely on. Um, in the League Cup, I only played one Eviltal. There were a lot in the field, but the League Cup also had a lot of different decks in the field. I played Eviltal, I played Greninja, I played Mega Ray, I played Mega Altaria, I played Volcanion. Um, so, so that's the deck. Um, I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys try it out and let me know in the comments how you do. And I'll see you guys next time.